Community should look like a group of people who share a certain level of care amongst each other.
Like-minded people who look out for each other, take care of each other in any way, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be.
Community it's necessary for, I think, the sustenance of humanity.
Community means everything.
Community, just a sense of belonging somewhere. You might not necessarily know everyone in your community, but you know that you fit in.
Community is just being able to be together, maybe with the common interest or just even caring for people in mass.
Honestly, until I started drag, I didn't realize that I had a group of people. I didn't find my tribe, essentially. And then when I found drag, I was like, oh my God, there's these people that have the same ideas as I do, and that love to do the same things as I do. And that group that I first found myself within was a group of queer people of color, and I was like, well, damn, look at this. I was like, if there's 5 of them right here, there has to be other ones.
It's a group that that helps you find yourself. It's a group that helps you sort of unpack who you are and figure that out for yourself, and also helps you heal through your trauma. Community is the group of people that are there for you when no one else is. It helps point you in the right direction, really, whether that's career-wise, personally, spiritually, emotionally, all of those things.
Community, I guess, is a group of people together, working together for a common good, for the welfare of each other. I personally don't feel like I fit into any particular community because I kind of pay attention to how people interact in groups. And I was always afraid of getting my feelings hurt or being teased, so I kind of never wanted to be part of anything because I knew that if I'm gonna integrate into a community, then I want to be accepted.
First time I did drag in New York City, I was asked to do one number at the Stonewall, legendary. So I was very excited. I remember taking the train by myself in what I thought was drag, but I looked horrible. And the initial thing, there's something to be said about dressing up. At that time, I didn't look like a woman, I looked like a monster. But going out and taking public transportation and being vulnerable to all these people on a train who have no idea where you're going or who you are or even know what a drag queen is. So that was very nerve-wracking. But once I stepped into that queer place of acceptance, I was accepted by everyone. It didn't matter what I looked like. I felt this overwhelming joy when I did my first performance and had all these people supporting me.
One of the biggest ways I cultivate community is in the ballroom scene. I've been in the ballroom scene for 14 years. I've been a part of 3 houses and a leader in all 3 of those. And I think the ballroom is a place where folks come to find themselves, where folks come to discover and choose their families, where they learned sort of the art of performance and how that impacts the ways that they show up in the world.
Community to me is the space through which we can be connected to one another. And it can look different for many people, right? So community is not necessarily fixed by your location, where it is that you live, the geography. It's about the people you connect. Community is your people, your folk. And that can be biological family or not. It can be family that you choose to create. It can be strangers, but people who connect and vibe with us, who care about us, who are willing to give things up for the sake of other people. That is what community means to me.
I accepted myself as just, a queer Black man, but I think it took pretty much until recently to own that, there are 2 sides to me. There are 2 energies living within me. There's a feminine side and there's a masculine side. And it took a long time for me to kind of just own up to that and accept it and move forward with it in a powerful way.
People honoring you for who you are on and off the stage, just for me and myself. Also, it comes from a place of acceptance. I think I'm still in search of community because I'm still in search of who I am as a person and what things I am acceptable to. So I think you find the things that you are ready for. And I feel like I'm in the process of being ready to find a community, but I'm also still in the process of accepting myself.
I love myself by listening to myself, because I think sometimes we act like we're so confused and we don't have the answers and, woe is me. And when I really learned to put myself in a quiet environment, especially in New York City, which is super hard to do, and I actually listen to myself and I act upon what myself is telling me, I think that's how I love myself more so these days.
I will say yes, I have always been this way in that I've always known what I like and I do not like, and I think one thing that I do like about myself is that I'm so sure of myself and have been so sure of myself for so long. There were moments where the things that I liked and were into and parts of myself I would keep within me, and I would hide them for lack of safety, I guess.
For me, when I was a little boy, I was I've always been the same. I've always had this feminine flair, and I've always actually loved my masculinity as well too, even though it's really small. But I like that balance that I do have of that, fluidity. But basically, as a child, my mother was the one who really solidified the concept that me being myself was okay. So if I sat with my legs crossed, it was okay. If I twirled with my hair, it was okay. And she also supported the concept of if I wanted Barbies for one day or whatever for Christmas, then I got Barbies for Christmas. If I wanted a baby doll or, I don't know, the little Tonka trucks or dinosaurs, I got those as well.
I don't know yet. I think that is my self-discovery right now, because I don't know how to affirm myself at the moment, so I'm learning.
The people who I would say really helped to shape my identity, believe it or not, would be my family. And I say that because growing up, they were the last people that I would look to for any type of guidance of who I am. But through different obstacles and different things that I endured in my household, I feel like it really challenged me to discover things about myself and really pushed me to dig deep in regards to my identity and my sexuality, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a black man. So although they didn't take the traditional route of, being these guides for me, I think that their lack of knowing about who I am really helped me to be who I am. And so when I look back at my life, I really thank them for a lot, because if they weren't so confused and if they had no idea of who I was, it probably wouldn't have pushed me to dig deep and figure out who I am. So I would say my mom and my brothers, and then the loss of my dad really helped to push me to identify who I am.
Wellness means, I think it's an optimistic outlook. I think wellness is, again, looking at that glass half full, waking up and saying that, maybe the best things haven't happened, but I'm still optimistic that things are going to get a lot better, because that's what motivates me, or anyone to keep going.
Wellness is mental, it's physical, it's doing some things sometimes you don't want to do because you have to. It's really takes discipline, I think, to really to make a conscious decision to be healthy.
Knowing myself first and foremost by being honest with myself. I'm learning to take care of myself. I'm learning to value myself in a real substantive kind of way, and show up for myself, be present for myself.
Wellness for me personally is just taking care of my mental health and my health physically, working hard so that I have a bright future, doing the right things, investing into things that I know will take me higher.
I know it came, I know a lot. I know it came a long way. Actually, one of the very first projects I did was an HIV kind of pilot study in Baltimore, Maryland. That's really how I got introduced to it, and that's when you really, if you like dig into the literature and stuff like that. I feel like the prevention methods has come a long way. I feel like there's still a stigma about it that shouldn't be there, but
why do you think that's there?
I don't know. I feel like just like culturally, it's hard to erase the stigma that people have about HIV. I feel like now the programs that are centered around HIV are doing a really good job about kind of decreasing the stigma, especially with the new campaign out about the PrEP and saying I won't transmit it, stuff like that. I feel like that's really good. I feel like knowledge is the only really way to kind of decrease that stigma. If people are knowledgeable, they won't have the stigma.
So I'm a big proponent of urgent care, and I think that part of this was like because I used to manage a healthcare program for a big district, and I saw how many men just don't go to the doctors. They don't until like something is like falling off or like super broken, and like I was like, I'm not gonna be that guy. And because I have health insurance, it was like, if I'm like sick, if I'm like I think I'm sick, I'm like, let's go to urgent care. So I'm a big urgent care guy.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby. We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.
We are Moby.